Hey, what's up guys, Stay Patient here and welcome to my 2016 PS4 Trophy Awards. Now this year's been incredible for trophy hunters. We've seen more easy and unbelievably fast platinums release over the last 12 months than we have during any year since trophies began. And this has also resulted in a whole new generation of trophy hunters joining us in our hobby. So to celebrate this, I thought we'd do some countdowns of the easiest platinums from the year across several different categories. Now we will be taking a look at the easiest AAA games in the next video, but today's all about the fastest easy platinum trophy sets. And of course I have covered a similar subject in some of my previous top 10s, so some of these games will have shown up in some of those videos, but there are plenty of new games in this list as well, ones we haven't discussed at all on this channel yet. So keep your eye out for those, and of course if you're new to the channel, there'll be a whole wealth of suggestions you can take away that will enable you to really power level your trophy collections. Now we have 25 games to get through today, all of which can be platinumed in less than 5 hours. That's how amazing this year has been. But because we're covering so many games in this video, I'm not going to be sharing trailers as I would normally do, and we're going to be moving through each one a little bit quicker than usual. But of course you can check the description below for all of the guides and walkthroughs and any useful links that I think will help you in your journey to earning these platinums. But before we dive into the main list, we are going to be taking a look at some honourable mentions, some games that didn't quite make it on to the final 25. So let's check that out right now. Grand Prix Rock & Racing and Manual Samuel can both be platinumed in less than 5 hours, but some people may find them very slightly tougher than the games that made it on to the final list. On the other hand, Wheels of Aurelia, which has 2 stacking trophy lists from North America and Europe, is very easy but will likely take most of us just over 5 hours. The same applies to the next 3 in the list. Nightmares from the Deep, Headlander and Silence will all take longer than 5 hours, but are nice and easy and can still be completed in less than 10 hours if you're following guides. Cat Lateral Damage should also take under 10 hours, but only if you get lucky because all the trophies have the potential to glitch, so be very wary of this one. Root Letter is one of the few Japanese visual novels to be given a Western release, and it has a total of 10 stacking trophy sets across all regions. It can be finished in less than 5 hours, but only if you skip all the dialogue, and it contains the kind of story you'll probably want to pay attention to. A few people have finished the latest Sherlock Holmes game in 5 hours as well, but the average estimated completion time on PlayStationTrophies.org is around 12 hours, so you'll probably take longer than 5 unless you're already familiar with it. Neither Wand Wars or Freeze Me really have enough feedback to confirm how long the average gamer's completion time will be. Not many people have even played them yet. But each of them has a high platinum completion percentage, and they've both been finished by several gamers in less than 5 hours, so they're definitely worth checking out. It's also early days for Bridge Constructor. The Xbox Achievements Guide hints at a 5-hour completion time, although the platinum times so far since it launched on PS4 are all above 10 hours. Either way, it'll be super easy if you're happy following a guide. And last of all, Funk of Titans was originally on the final list of 25, before I remembered a game I'd forgotten and had to make room for it. It can be finished in under 5 hours, but may take some slightly longer. It does boast an incredibly high platinum completion percentage though, despite having one trophy that some find a bit tricky, at least at first. So consider this one to be basically the 26th game on the final list. There are some VR games with platinums that can easily be finished in less than 5 hours too, but they'll be covered in their very own video. So although all these honourable mentions are worthy of attention from all you trophy hunters, let's take a look at my final picks for the top 25 easiest and fastest PS4 platinums from 2016. If it wasn't for the fact that it's only available on the Chinese PSN store, ICEY would have been further up the list. It's worth opening a Chinese account for though, because not only is it super easy to finish in around 3 hours if you follow the linked guide, it's also a great game. The 2D hack-and-slash combat is very enjoyable, and the narrator pokes fun at us trophy hunters in very unique and humorous ways. That is, if you're willing to read the English subtitles. DEPONIA is one of several point-and-click adventures on this list, and we all know how easy they tend to be, when a guide is followed of course. It stands out graphically due to being a recent release rather than a remaster, and looks genuinely funny with a leading character that reminds me of our old friend Guybrush Threepwood. If you're happy following the step-by-step guide linked in the description, you'll get through it in less than 5 hours. The Deadly Tower of Monsters is another easy but enjoyable platinum that can also be finished in under 5 hours if the guide is checked beforehand. And the best thing about this crazy top-down twin-stick shooter is that it was recently free for PlayStation Plus members during November 2016. So if you haven't platinumed this already, you have some nice easy, free trophies waiting for you. For most people, Coffin Dodgers, the OAP kart racing game, takes around 3 to 5 hours to platinum. You could get unlucky while going for one or two of the weapon use trophies and find it takes you slightly longer, but not by much, and this reasonably fun platinum has an even higher completion percentage than Funk of Titans. The first of the notoriously easy Go games is Hitman, which will take you around 3 to 5 hours to complete, assuming you're following the step-by-step guide linked in the description, which you'll likely want to do due to there being a trophy that disallows use of the in-game hint system. With it being cross-buy between PS4 and Vita, you can even play this one, well, on the go. Okay, next up is the TV series tie-in Gemini Heroes Reborn, which holds the rare privilege of being better than the material that inspired it. It's a little clunky, but its use of powers is fairly original and fun for a lower budget game, and at 4 hours completion time, give or take, is well deserving of a place on our list. And so here's that other Go game, Lara Croft, which is a very recent release but already has a step-by-step guide up, making it super quick and easy just like its predecessor. This time though, you are allowed to use the in-game hints, which basically solve each level for you, so even if you dive in without a guide, you'll be done before you know it. The completion time is around the same as Hitman Go at about 3 to 5 hours, but probably at the lower end of that scale this time around. All the next 3 games take almost exactly 3 hours each, but Adam's Venture Origins is sat in the lowest position of the 3 due to being rather overpriced, whether you buy it digital or retail. This poor man's Uncharted is rather clunky to control, but it's all about the puzzles, which means it's super easy when a walkthrough is consulted, and almost all the trophies are story related. Nero, or Nothing Ever Remains Obscure, is another puzzle-based game that also clocks in at around 3 hours. It contains an odd trophy that can only be earned on a Thursday, but changing the date on your PS4 quickly negates that potential inconvenience. With a bunch of collectibles to grab on your way through, it makes sense to follow a guide for this one, so as usual check the description for any helpful links you might need. The final one of the 3 games that'll take everyone almost dead on 3 hours to complete is Virginia, and it would be even quicker if it wasn't for the fact that you have to play it through twice. It's a very basic narrative-driven game, but its story is portrayed without the use of any dialogue. Once again, make sure you don't miss any of the collectibles or trophies by following the guide linked below. Monster Jam Crush It is another extremely straightforward platinum. It's also nice and quick at around 3 to 4 hours completion time, which is a good thing due to how terrible the controls are during some of the events. Other modes aren't too bad, but I wouldn't go as far as to say it's a good game, and it's certainly overpriced most of the time. Rather than buying, I would recommend renting if you can, as it is available on disc as well. Next up is a duo of games, PacMan and Miss Pac-Man, the easiest 2 from the arcade game series. These are 2 of the cheapest platinums you can buy, and both games can be finished in an hour or 2. There is however a small level of skill involved, although you can negate that challenge for the most part by uploading your save to the cloud periodically when going for the trickier trophies. Constantly closing the game to upload or download saves can get frustrating though, which explains why the games aren't higher up on the list. Rockets 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 also takes between 1 and 2 hours, and you can double up on the stackable platinum if you play both the European and US versions. I kept it out of the top 10 due to one fairly luck-based trophy, and the fact that it's slightly quicker if you have at least 2 controllers. Having a second person handy can speed it up further as well, which will also help you enjoy it that bit more because playing this with a friend is actually a good laugh. Clockwork Tales of Glass and Ink may take a touch longer than the previous 2 games at 2 to 3 hours completion time, but as a hidden item puzzle game, following a guide makes it as easy as they come. Of course, following a video guide for games like this adds on more time as you sit watching each section before playing it yourself, so against my better judgment as a YouTuber, I always recommend text guides if there's one available. Orcs Lair just about missed out on the top 10 partly because it's just such a terrible game, which makes it seem longer than it actually is. In reality, you'll be done in around 2 to 3 hours with no difficulty whatsoever, and will probably swear never to play it again, until you realise that the European and North American versions stack, teasing you with a second platinum. They're both super cheap, so why not? Stick the telly on and get it over with, your trophy count will thank you. So we reached the top 10, which is kicked off by Day of the Tentacle Remastered, a re-release of one of Tim Schafer's classic and rather funny point-and-click adventures. It'll take you somewhere between 90 minutes and 3 hours depending on how quickly you can follow the step-by-step instructions in the guide. Enjoy the experience though, this is old school adventuring at its best. Next up we have one of the most recent releases on the list. Like DEPONIA, the Little Acre is a modern point-and-click adventure with great Disney-style graphics and animations to prove it. And like DEPONIA, it's genuinely funny and lovable. You'll also be able to actually enjoy this one as all the missable trophies are fairly straightforward, so you won't need to follow a step-by-step walkthrough, just a general guide. It should take you around 2 hours to complete. Albedo, Eyes from Outer Space takes a page out of Orcs Lair's books in that it's super easy, super quick, has 2 stacking platinums from Europe and the US, and will make you want to jump in front of a bus. Still, if you follow the guide, this clunky mess of a game will take you less than 2 hours and can be done in just 1 if you're quick. If you're platting both versions, do them one after the other, as it'll be so much quicker the second time if you do. Duke Nukem 3D 20th Anniversary World Tour is made insanely basic through the use of in-game cheats. Ability to walk through walls and be invincible? Don't mind if I do. All levels are open from the start, it's just a case of going through each trophy one at a time and using whichever level and whichever cheats make it as simple as possible. This can be finished in as little as 30 minutes, but for most it will be around 1, maybe 2 hours. Her Majesty's Spiffing is the most recent release on this list and I have yet to experience it myself. It's another point-and-click style adventure, and a big thank you to Brian from PS4 Trophies for confirming that it can be finished in 1 hour and maybe even quicker when a guide is made. This deserves a place in the top 5 by the sounds of it, but I wanted to be able to personally vouch for all 5 at the top of this list. So with that in mind, 5th place goes to the interactive movie The Bunker. An interesting and unique story-driven live-action game that comes in at around 90 minutes completion time. I've had a few people ask how scary this is, so in case you're wondering, the answer is not at all. It's more about the atmosphere and story. Follow my spoiler-free video guide linked in the description to ensure you find all the collectibles on your way through. In 4th place we have Dead Synchronicity Tomorrow Comes Today, which is to be fair a rather depressing game, unless you love trophies, in which case it'll put a huge smile on your face. It's a very dark and mature themed point and click adventure set in a concentration camp, but if you follow the guide nice and quickly the platinum can be finished off in just 1 hour, give or take a few minutes. Just try not to get too bummed out by the subject matter. The bronze trophy for 3rd place goes to Jazzpunk for several reasons. It's super easy and can be finished in less than an hour, but it's also an enjoyable ride. Being unlike anything else I can think of, this adventure from Adult Swim will have you laughing at some of the most surreal things you've ever experienced in a video game. And the cherry on top is yet another potential double platinum if you have access to the European and American versions. Many of you will scratch your head when you see that My Name is Mayo only wins the silver award from me today, due to it being considered one of the easiest and fastest platinums of all time at around 30 to 45 minutes completion time. Its missing out on 1st place is partly down to the game not yet receiving a European release. This trophy delivery system is only out in the US for now, but is unbelievably cheap and cross-buy between PS4 and Vita versions, both of which have their own separate platinum. Let's hope the European versions stack as well, if they ever arrive. The other reason it's not number 1 is that, believe it or not, it wasn't the fastest platinum to release this year. So by now I'm sure you've guessed which game wins my gold award for the easiest and fastest PS4 platinum of 2016. That's right, at number 1 is Nublar and the World of Nublar. Now Nublar itself actually released in the UK and parts of Europe during November 2015, but we've had to wait until recently for it to launch in the US. Finally though, both sides of the pond have access to it and the trophies stack, meaning we can earn 2 platinums from playing both versions. On top of that though, we also got an unexpected surprise. The game was re-released here in the UK as the World of Nublar, with the only difference being the inclusion of a demo for part 2 of the series. And yes, this re-release has another stacking list, making a current total of 3, with undoubtedly at least 1 more to come if World of also releases in the US at a later date.
It takes around half an hour or less to complete if you follow my guide, making it one of the fastest platinum trophies ever released.
So there we have it guys, what a year it's been for easy platinums. Now during the easiest AAA games video that I'm planning to put up next, I am going to be running my first ever giveaway. And details of that giveaway will be uploaded in a separate video over the next week or so make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so that you can be updated with all my latest content, and be sure to enter that competition while you've got the chance to do so. At the end of this video, I'm also going to put a subscribe link for Cornshak's channel. He's another trophy-based channel that does a lot of similar content, but he also does gameplay videos and reviews for a lot of the easy platinums. So if any of the games that we've spoken about today have grabbed your attention, then jump across to his channel and check to see if he's got any gameplay or maybe a review up for that game. He's also planning some end of year lists like this one, and I'm sure if you enjoyed this video, you'll enjoy his content as well. So go and check him out and be sure to subscribe to both of us. Alright guys, I want to say thank you for all your support this year. It's been a great year for Trophy Hunters and for this channel in general. I very much look forward to sharing the rest of the Trophy Awards with you guys. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll catch you very soon.